Hey everybody, it's MusicMan82. Today's video is a little different than the ones I usually post. There's all sorts of summer adventures with summits, and this one is a winter adventure without any summits. So you might ask, why are you posting this video? And the reason why is because this trip was a lot of fun. The scenery in it was spectacular, and so I just really wanted to share some of the views that my friend Doug and I had on this trip. It was really amazing. So hopefully stick around and check out the video coming up here shortly. So back in early 2010, I was looking around at maps for peaks to climb, and I was like, I haven't done much out the South Fork of the Shoshone River by Cody, and I was like, this would be a great place to go try and get a summit because the mountains out there are epic. The only problem is getting far enough in to actually get to a ranked summit is not as easy as it might sound. So I hit upon the idea of going up Kingfisher Peak, which is a very remote peak out there. Start at the Deer Creek trailhead and you head on in and go up a pass and then hang a left and you're on the summit. It sounds simple enough. The only problem is that I decided I can do anything. Let's try this in winter. And so I talked to my friend Doug, who is also crazy like I am, and we were like, let's give it a go. So we made plans, worked on make sure we had uh, the right gear. I had really not done much in the outdoors in the winter, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I checked out a pair of snowshoes from the co-op at the college and was like, let's go do this. So the only problem is soon before we were supposed to take the trip, there was a huge snowstorm, and this storm dumped feet of snow out there. And so I think if I remember correctly, I think we had to postpone the trip a couple days, but we still ended up going. And uh, it was beautiful, but there was a lot of snow, and I'm thinking it was probably early April, maybe April 3rd or something, and so we ended up getting out to Deer Creek pretty early in the morning, and then headed out up up that area. That area is one of the premier ice climbing destinations in the entire world, and there are hundreds and hundreds of routes out there. New climbs are being put up all the time, and you'll see a few of these pictures at the beginning have some really cool ice uh, areas, and yeah, it was definitely cold. I didn't have any nice gear like I do now, so I definitely had to wear a lot more layers than I usually would have to stay warm. slow but sure progress. I remember having to cross a creek, and I believe Doug actually broke through in one spot and got his boot a little bit wet, but it didn't seem to bother him too much. The thing we started noticing once we crossed over to kind of the south side of Deer Creek was that there were a lot of fresh avalanches that had come down from the gullies on the side. And I'd never seen an avalanche trail before. And, it's just huge amounts of snow, big, hard clumps. And you go from like walking in softer snow to coming up on this stuff, and it is hard as a rock. And so I climbed over a few of those, and I remember we stopped to eat lunch, and the wind up at higher elevation must have been blowing at an insane rate, because the plumes of snow coming off the peaks looked like something you would see in National Geographic video of Everest or something. And so it was really cool to see that live. The video I shot with my old camera doesn't really do it justice, but you can kind of see what that looks like. Doug and I had planned on taking turns to break trail once we put our snowshoes on. The only difference was that he had really good snowshoes, and the ones I had were some crappy MSR plastic ones that were way too short. So when I tried breaking trail, I was, front and back, side to side. There was just no going for me. And I don't have, as you can see on the side of the frame here, I didn't have my nice snowshoes at that point, and I wish I had, because it would have made the trip a lot easier. But that was it. Doug led and did an amazing job. He's an absolute beast. So cheers to Doug.
So Doug and Tim's excellent adventure. We're snowshoeing it up in the middle of an avalanche path right here. Really good. Looking up at intense winds blowing some awesome snow up there. Pretty sweet. Now we eat lunch.
So we got to a point where we could see the end of the valley, where we were going to have to veer slightly left to get over to the pass. So it was mid-afternoon, getting to late afternoon at this point. We could tell there was some more weather moving in, but the big thing that started to be an issue was the trails kind of climbed up onto the side of a hill, and I had taken an avalanche safety course, and so I knew all the math, the degrees, what you're supposed to look for. And we split out quite a bit to make sure that we didn't, our weight alone didn't trigger something. And so we were pretty far apart, and Doug's out moving by himself a little bit, and I hear this oomph, and he drops this much, and there's a huge fracture line on the hill above him in an arc. And so he kind of goes, whoa, and we both stopped and waited. Nothing bad happened. And we were kind of like, that was intense. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. And so he kind of was able to get over to where there were some trees. And then I followed very carefully behind. And then we got to another somewhat open area, and he went out again. Same thing happened. And if you've ever been out in the backcountry in the winter and you hear that whoomp sound, you know what it sounds like. It's definitely a distinct noise, and when you feel that snow drop, we just are kind of like, this is stupid. We need to turn around. And based on the sheer amount of snow that we had kind of encountered, the farther up the valley we got, it was going to be a long, long trip. So we had noticed a really good campsite just a little ways back, and so we kind of carefully backtracked out of the avalanche zone, and we just got there and set up camp. We stamped down a whole area with our snowshoes, and then got the tent set up. Got the stove going. Melted a lot of water for dinner and drinking. Made some hot tea. Spent the night in the tent playing cards. It was actually a super fun night. So the snow started to come down a little bit before bedtime, though, so we were interested to see what it would look like in the morning.
So, this is our camp. We set it up ourselves, considering we're the only people out here for about 5 miles. Looking up at the sunset. Epic cliffs above. And over there, the good old dragonfly stove. We just finished boiling water, mini pots of it. How would you characterize the day?
It was fun. Lots of snow.
Yes, a little bit of snow.
Made a good decision to turn around when we did.
I think so.
It's too bad. It would have been fun to keep going, but snow conditions just weren't right.
For sure.
So when we got up in the morning, our tent was very well covered in snow. It had snowed all night, and so we were definitely glad we'd made the decision to turn around and weren't stuck farther up the valley in a serious snowstorm. And that snowstorm, if I remember correctly, wasn't on the weather report, and it just happened and dumped quite a few more inches. So got everything packed up and kind of had to break trail again on the way out. And the lower elevation we got, the less snow there was, and then by the time we got to the car, it was pretty sunny and not snowing. So short trip, just over a day and a half, but I learned a lot of valuable lessons about being in the backcountry and just learning about snow conditions and also just how slow you go if you're wearing snowshoes, whether you have a beast like Doug breaking trail, or if you are just out there. It takes so much longer to just cover a mile. And I learned also a lot about my gear. I made the mistake of bringing a thermos. My idea was, everyone says, take a warm water bottle, make sure you have that in your bag at night to keep your feet warm and all that stuff. I made the mistake of buying a thermos that had no insulation. So I poured the hot water in it. The outside became instantly hot and I couldn't touch it for hours. So that piece of gear never got used again. I got a better one on one of my later trips with Doug.
It's the morning. It's snowing a bit. Getting the pot rolling. Breathe out a big breath, Doug. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's looking back up Deer Creek. Nothing to be seen.
Stayed warm all night.
Yeah, it was a wonderful night. The good old tent has lots of snow. Had lots of snow on it. We knocked it all off. But it's a pretty awesome time. Gonna cook us some oatmeal, eat an energy shot, tear down, get on the trail, get out of here and go enjoy ourselves. Snow melting process. Yay. Alright, I'm gonna put the camera away before I freeze my hands off. Yeah,
come on down.
That's my story of the Deer Creek trip that we took in 2010, short but sweet, and some really cool mountain views. So hopefully you enjoyed those. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you around for some more stuff soon. Cheers.